By knowing what not to do, you will know what to do. Let's say you have a goal you're trying to reach and you don't really know how to go about it. Well, if you were to have a list of literally every single ways to not reach that goal, wouldn't you be able to reach it? Because now you already know what not to do, so you inevitably know what to do. But that's not the reality. At least in business, most of the time, we literally have to go through hell and we have to fail so many times until we literally run out of ways to fail. So we've tried everything under the sun that doesn't work in every single area possible, to the point where now all we have left is what works. That's the case for most of us. But we don't want to go through hell though. You don't want to go through hell just to know what will work for your client. You don't want to go through hell just to know what will work for your offer. You don't want that. And if that's you, then keep watching, because this video is for you. And keep watching until the end, because on the title of this video I made you a promise, which is, by knowing what not to do, you will know what to do. That is only applicable and that is only gonna be true if you have an action plan, if you have an implementation plan. And if you're someone who takes actions, then keep watching until the end, because you're not gonna regret it. And so the principle of not knowing what to do to know what to do comes from the term pre-mortem. And this is something you probably never heard of doing in your entire life. And this is not a term that everybody uses on a day-to-day basis. But let me explain to you so that you at least understand the fundamental and the thought process behind it. Because tactic is not what works in life. It's fundamentals and principle that always work. And so to understand the thought process, you need to understand what pre-mortem is. A pre-mortem is a strategic technique used to identify potential risks and challenges before a project or initiative begins. The concept of pre-mortem is derived from the idea of post-mortem analysis, which is conducted after a project has failed to determine the cause of its failure. Nigga, what? That one probably went over your head. And so let me give you an example. This is a term that is used a lot in hospitals. So in a hospital, when surgeons are doing surgery and unfortunately the patient dies, which you don't want that to happen, but shit, sometimes it happens. So when a patient dies, unfortunately, they would have a meeting right after that where they would discuss about everything that went wrong and make a list of basically every single failure scenarios. So they will list out everything that didn't work. Now, if you're smart, you probably see where I'm going, based on what I said in the beginning of the video. So after they would make that list of everything that could cause the patient to die after the death of someone, they would take it from there and would make sure that the next time it doesn't happen. Now that is the post-mortem. Because although this is wise and this is a great thought process, the reality is you don't want to wait until a patient dies. And like I was saying again in the beginning of the video, you don't want to go through hell just to find out what works and what doesn't work. So just for the same reason, in medicine, right, as a surgeon, you don't want to wait until someone dies to make sure it doesn't happen again. And so there's actually a way around it, which is now pre-mortem, okay, which is the exact same scenario, except in this case, the patient is still alive. And so the surgeon would make assumption and map out what they would do to avoid failure. Literally, they would map out everything they would do to avoid failure, so avoid the death of a patient, right? And for you, avoid you not reaching your goal, right? So they would make a hypothesis on everything that would keep them from not achieving the goal. So from not saving the patient in that case, right? Before the patient dies. And for you, it can be from not hitting that goal, whether it's for your business or for your clients. And so why is that? Why am I talking about pre-mortem? Why is it so important? Well, let me give you another example, right? And let's change your perspective a little bit. If I was to offer you to pay you literally $1 million in order for you to come up with 100 different ways to make $1 million, you would be able to give me the answer, right? No matter how long it might take you longer, but you will be able to come up with 100 different ways of making $1 million. And now I know that you've probably heard of a lot of examples like, oh, if I give you a Ferrari for $10,000, wouldn't you want to buy it? Okay, fair enough. You've heard that one before, but this is completely different. And this is not necessarily just about value. Now, in that case, if I pay you $1 million to come up with 100 different ways of making $1 million, you would force yourself to find these 100 different ways of making that $1 million, right? But now, isn't it ironic though? Because you would force yourself to find 100 different ways to make $1 million to get paid $1 million. But so how come you can't leverage one of these ways to make $1 million for yourself? Now the answer to this question is that most people seek ways to achieve their goals right? And never or rarely spend time to figure out how to guarantee failure. And it sounds fucked up, but at the end of the video, I want you to realize how simple it is and how it makes so much fucking sense, because we're just not wired to do this. Our brain is not wired to do this, right? Just for the example I give you. Isn't it fucked up? Isn't it ironic? You will literally force yourself to come up with 100 different ways of making $1 million to get paid $1 million. But out of these 100 different ways of making $1 million, you've probably never tried none of them. And if you did, you probably didn't try long enough or some shit like that. And so this is just because we're just not wired to do this, right? Because most people seek more ways to achieve their goals and never actually seek the ways to guarantee failure. And so this is when premortem comes along, right? Because premortem allow you to figure out the few paths that guarantee failures. And keep in mind the example I was giving you in the beginning when I was talking about premortem in hospitals, how surgeons use it and how they leverage it. Well, there are many ways to fail, but there are fewest ways to guarantee failure. And the beautiful thing about finding the few ways that guarantee failure is that you can easily avoid them and literally guarantee a level of success. So by knowing what not to do and by literally knowing every single thing that will lead you to fail, by knowing that and avoiding that, you literally end up succeeding by accident, if I can put it that way. And so when do I use premortem? And when should you use premortem? Well, you should use premortem to create a no-brainer offer. Use that shit in your offer and create mechanism for your clients. This is how you want to leverage premortem, because you can leverage it for yourself, but also leverage it for your client. Because the point of premortem is to create a mechanism that is inevitably going to make you reach your goal, rather it's for your business or rather it's for the success of your client, if you want to give your client success, right? So you would use it to create a no-brainer offer and mechanism for your clients. So you would create an ideal transformation that you know your client desire. You know the desire of your clients, you know what their goal is. So you would create a ideal transformation mechanism by leveraging this process that I'm going to break down for you to get results for a client and to make it inevitable for them to succeed. You will list out all the things that would guarantee that your client never experience their desired transformation. So you will list all of that, and then you would create a mechanism and offer that guarantees these obstacles get removed from your client's path. So that means with the list of all the things that would guarantee your clients to never experience their desired transformation, you would create a mechanism that will solve every single one of these failure scenarios. And that will lead you to inevitably reach that goal, because now you already got rid of every single thing that won't work. And so the point is to map out the journey of your client and list every single thing that would make them fail and every single thing that are blocking them to get to that result, and create a solution, a mechanism that is going to solve every single one of them. By doing that, you guarantee success to your client. And most of the time, the funny thing is that most of these things, they didn't even know they need it because they were not even at that level yet. And you already provide that for them. And you're going to see where I'm going with that. Now, this is something that a lot of people are using. Serge Guattari, this is what he used to literally create 4 to 5 figures build and release offer, right? If you know him and you've seen him somewhere, you know he's the king of build and release, right? And this nigga literally charged 10 grand, 15 grand, and 20 grand upfront for his build and release offer. Why? Because there's so much fucking value in it. Literally, people from third world country are selling their cars to join his program. And this is not a joke. I've been to his webinar, I've been to his program and everything, and people, this is what they're fucking doing. And Alex Hormozi uses the same thing. He talks about it a little bit in a $100 million offer, but in this video, I'm gonna literally break down how he made his offer. Okay, he's charging. I'm gonna break down his gym launch offer, right? The way he scaled his coaching business to $1.6 million on recurring revenue. Okay, this is a lot of fucking money because gym owners don't make that much money. They're not supposed to make that much money. Respectfully, gym owners are usually broke, and he took his coaching business to the next fucking level, right? Scaling gym owners' businesses. And I'm gonna break down little by little how he leveraged literally, and he used the exact same pre-mortem exercise. And I'm gonna give you access to all the fucking sauce, to all the value, and to all the assets that you need to also do it for yourself. Okay, so this is how Alex Hormozi was able to make a gazillion dollars, right? He was able to build $1 gazillion offer. Okay, and so how to conduct pre-mortem for your business? Well, there's 2 steps into it, right? The first part of it, which is creating a scenario creation. This is the first step, the first phase of leveraging pre-mortem. Imagine a future point in time where your client failed to achieve the desired transformation. Now you probably already have data around it, right? So you would map this out. You would create a fictional narrative that describe the failure and its consequences. So for the failure scenario. Now with that, after you've imagined a point in time where your client failed to achieve their desired transformation, you would now brainstorm a whole bunch of failures factor. Right? You will brainstorm and list the factors or the reason that could have led to the client failure. Now the focus is on identifying potential risk, weaknesses, or oversight that might not have been considered previously. Now I'm gonna break all of this down for you guys, okay? And I'm gonna give you the implementation roadmap to do it for yourself. Now I highly recommend you doing a pre-mortem when creating your service, as it will lead you to creating an amazing fucking service, while most of your competitors are stuck only offering a partial solution. Because the thing you're gonna realize is here you're closing the fucking gap. Okay? My banner on YouTube, if you stalk my YouTube a little bit, right? The banner will close the gap on my YouTube page is there for a fucking reason. Because this is what you want to do with this. And you're going to see how fucking crazy you're going to be able to literally cancel out competition with this. Because you're going to notice after you apply this for yourself, this is going to probably be the biggest eye-opening moment for you. Because you're going to realize how big the gap is now between you and the other people. Because everybody's doing the same shit. And everybody's focusing on solving one problem, which is not enough. And I'm going to go deeper into this and tell you why, right? Because you'll be 10 steps ahead, solving all the problems your clients aren't even aware of. This is why I was saying again earlier about Serge Gatari. This is why people literally from third world country are selling their cars to work with him. Even though you help your client grow, right? Whether it's B2B, I don't know what your offer is, but if you help your client go through a certain journey, right? We all know this principle. There's always growing pain. This is a principle in life, and the same thing applies to business. We all know the saying, more money, more problems, right? So the more you grow, a new pain would occur, right? With every single growth, there's a new pain that shows up. Imagine you're the dude, you're the girl, you're the nigga that literally prevent that one from happening. You are 10 steps ahead. That's what I mean by you will be 10 steps ahead of solving all the problems your client aren't even aware of. Because this is the whole point of pre-mortem. If you've been following what I've been saying so far with the example I've been giving you, that's the whole point. You position yourself to the point that with the data and the insight that you have from your clients and with the pre-mortem exercise that you're going to apply, you would be able to position yourself in a position where you are solving problem that your clients aren't even fucking aware of as they grow, right? Now, let's get into the sauce. Let's break down gym lunch offer, right? He was selling that fucking offer for $16,000, okay? And basically what he would do, the first step of building his offer is, again, like I said here, in this example, he would brainstorm the failure factors. He would make a list of his client's failure scenarios. So he would list out everything that is keeping his normal gym owners to scale their gym business. And so in order to do that, he would put himself in the shoes of his client. He would put himself in the shoes of his potential client and ask himself, all right, what would keep a normal small gym owner from scaling his gym business and living a great life? Well, now he took the average metric of his clients. So a basic gym owner would have a capacity of 100 to 120 members, and gym owners were on average selling $100 to $125 membership. That was the average, okay? And so that is the equivalent of 12 grand to 15 grand. But obviously there's a whole bunch of expenses in equipment, so these gym owners would be left with only $2,000 per month profit. That's damn bad. So how can he solve this, right? And then he came up with all of the things, all of the failure scenarios that was keeping them from growing. So from the insight they made, right? So from the insight he got from his client, he noticed that, well, they can't generate enough profit to make sense of being a gym owner. They can't generate enough lead flow. They can't get leads to show up. So they don't generate enough lead flow. And the few leads that they get, they don't even show up. And they can't even get to close the few leads that would come in. That's damn bad. And they can't deliver quality experiences, services to the new members. And they can't get members to stay after a few months or buy more. And so that was pretty much the list of failure scenarios he came up with. Now, these were the main obstacles and scenarios that would keep a gym owner, aka or gym coach, from living a happy life. So with that list, he came up with his $16,000 offer And now you will understand why it's worth that much money and how it's definitely possible for you to do the same. And literally, he would come up with a $16,000 offer, right, in the timeline of 16 week, right, with his gym lunch offer. And here's the deliverables of his offer. Now, remember what I was saying earlier about with every single failure scenario, you want to create a mechanism that is going to remove these failure scenarios. So you want to create a mechanism that is going to avoid this failure scenario to happen. Because the reason why I was focusing on trying to know what not to do is because once you got all these failure scenarios possible, it is only by removing these failure scenarios that you're guaranteed to have success. So once you have all of this mapped out, and you know what doesn't work, once you know what not to do, you get rid of that. Now you know what to do. Why? Because the solution for these things not to happen is the mechanism that you're going to build to solve that, right? And this is exactly how he did. What? He created mechanism to avoid these failure scenarios to happen. So problem number one here, right? AKA failure scenario is the same thing. They're synonyms, right? The problem number one was a commoditized offer. Remember, can't generate enough profit to make sense of being a gym owner. The reason why they can't generate enough profit, okay, and is because they were selling a commoditized offer, which is basically a saturated offer in other terms. Why? Because gym owners, they would sell $100 to $125 membership, and gym owners were doing the same thing. So this is pretty damn commoditized. This is pretty damn saturated. And this is why he realized they can't generate enough profit to make any sense of being a gym owner, because their offer is commoditized. So that was the problem number one, commoditized offer for his gym owner's client. The solution for this, aka the mechanism to avoid commoditized offers being created in the market, is that he will help his client now to take that cheap ass offer they would have, and he will literally done for you and build them a $600 offer that they would charge upfront. So he would take his client from being able to charge $100 to $125 membership, yay, to charge $600 fucking dollars upfront. And that offer that he will help them create was a 6-week challenge, right? So he will help gym owners create a 6-week challenge, right? And 6 week how to burn fat and get a fat ass and get abs and get more bitches, whatever, right? So he will help his client literally create a $600 worth upfront of value, and he will do it done for you. Now, before I even move on, realize how only by one mechanism, realize how much pain he already just took off from his clients. Because if you realize, right, here I was doing those were the matrix for his average client, and that was the matrix for his client he would close. Because now people on average were making 12 grand to 15 grand by selling $100 to $125 membership to 100 and 120 members. Now, out of these 120 members and 100 members, 30 of these members on average, okay, would buy the $600 week, 6-week challenge, right? So that would add an additional 18 fucking grand upfront for his client in 2 to 4 weeks. That was literally the average result. So 30 out of the 120 to 100 members would go on and buy the $600 offer 6-week challenge he would help his client make. So that's already 18 grand upfront they were making, an addition on top of what they were making just from one failure scenario being solved. And then he was helping them with a whole bunch of stuff, because now that was only problem one. But then problem two, aka failure scenario number 2, was no proven way, predictable and affordable system to generate leads. Can't get enough lead flow. Same shit, right? So that was the second problem. Guess what he did? He built a proven ad and proven targeting and proven sales funnel built for you mechanism that he would do for his client. Another thing he noticed, again, the third problem was they couldn't get any leads to show up. All these leads, even though he solved that, these leads wouldn't show up. Guess fucking what? Follow-up and nurturing sequence to set up for you. So the reason, now notice the thought process behind this, right? He realized the leads they were getting, his clients were getting, didn't show up. So he asked himself, why the fuck aren't they showing up? Oh, it's because they have no follow-up and nurturing system. So he built for them a follow-up and nurturing sequence set up for you that he will build in his clients' businesses to get the leads to show up. Okay, so it's not always just about finding failure scenarios, but also by knowing why these failure scenarios are happening in the first place, you would find out how to fix it, and at least how to avoid it. And now in another problem, no proven sales process and sales script. Here's the perfect example for what I just said. They couldn't get to close these leads. They couldn't close them on the phone. So guess what he did? He made a proven sales process and sales script for his clients. Because again, the thought process I was talking about. Once you have a failure scenario, you don't just want to find a solution, but by knowing why this failure scenario is happening in the first place, you will get to find a solution. So in this case, they can't get to close the leads on the phone. Why can't they close the leads? Because they suck at sales. Okay, how can they get better? By leveraging a proven sales process and sales script, right? Alex Hormozi, we know him. He's the G of that shit, right? Alex Hormozi, we know him. He's a G at closing, right? He's fucking good at this shit, right? And so he will build a mechanism to solve that problem, right? Now the list goes on, but you know the drill, right? Is literally now that's just an example. You can pause the video and watch it and zoom it. This is literally an offer example that I made, literally online coach and consultant growth offer. This is for online coach and consultant. This is an example here, right? Or if you're an online coach helping online coach, you can literally pause that shit, take it and copy it, like, or just at least understand the thought process, because I don't just want you to copy and just use it for yourself, whatever, because there's a whole thought process for it, and there's something that you can do. Now, I'm a man of my word, and I made a promise in the beginning of the video, and I'm gonna stick to it. Now, obviously, if you're still watching, it's because you're looking to take action. You're a real one, by the way. Let me actually show it for you guys. Literally this sheet. Now, before you do anything, okay, once you get that list, you want to make a fucking copy. A copy of this shit, right? You want to make a copy. Put your name on the copy also once you make that copy. And then here, list all the failure scenarios, the mechanism to avoid these failure scenarios to happen, and then delivering process. Is it going to be done for you, done with you, or consulting, right? For your offer. For a coaching offer, or if you're an agency owner, right? Now, if you want to have access to it, just comment growth offer and subscribe, and I'll give it to you for free. Thank you for still watching. God bless. Take care.